Another episode of crazy games I should have never bought, but I've been told that that's a little too negative. So we're going to change that around to games I should have always bought. The 1957 Genco, and I mean Genco, not Genco, Genco. That's the correct pronunciation. Motorama. This is an arcade classic. It is a cool driving game. Look, you got a steering wheel, and this is your gas pedal. Push in to go forward, pull back to go in reverse, which is kind of neato. And your object is to drive this fancy little car here that is a Jonah's promo car that they came out every year in all different models. And basically Genco stole the body from those model cars and put them on a motorized chassis. And you drive it over all these lit rollover switches. And there's also some red stand-up switches, 4 of them for more points. And you have to do that in a certain amount of time. And you can see there's your time clock there. When that light there comes on, that means your time is over, game over. But this shows you like the periods. It just, when you start a game, it progresses through here. The whole idea of this is to get from New York City through the various cities all the way to Los Angeles. You can see the last game I got to Chicago, and each one of these rollovers represents one city, and the red ones represent 2 cities. So you get double advances with these guys. That's why there's only 4 of them. And there's a lot more of these rollovers, which are a hell of a lot easier to get. Do it! To be honest, somebody else restored this game. And it's a long story. But what happened is, back 20 years ago, a guy called me and said, I got 2 Genco Motoramas for sale, and he wanted a lot of money for both of them. And they were in Woodstock, New York, like right about here, and I was outside Ann Arbor, Michigan here. So me and a buddy jumped in a car, and we drove through Ohio and Pennsylvania and up through New York to Woodstock, bought them out of a storage unit, and when we were lifting them out, the bottom of the game fell out of one of them. They were both in crappy condition. And I got them home, and I was able to put the crappiest one together and turn it into a working game. I mean, just barely working, but working enough. And I sold it, the one game, for the cost of both games. So I got my Motorama free. Okay, now fast forward 20 years. I didn't touch the game at all, other than painting the legs. And last year I had this crisis in my life, which was totally made up. And I sold a bunch of stuff, including the Motorama. Then I'm on one of the pinball forums, and this guy named Kevin is selling his Motorama, this one here, that he's already done all the work to. I won't say it was 100% right. It was about 98%, but it was pretty good. I mean, he did a lot of stuff. Like all these stickers here, he remade all these because they're always peeled. He put these new trees in. They're not really the right trees. The original are little foam trees. These are like model railroad trees, but they look good. And if I didn't tell you that, you probably wouldn't have known. This plastic here he remade. He did a bunch of parts, like this front bumper. This front bumper, what it does is it goes through and it hits the switches. And it also has a round bottom on both the front of the car and obviously on the back. That way, when you go over a rollover switch, it activates the switch. So this apparently was missing or broken, so he 3D printed a new one. Now, I took his 3D file that he was willing to supply and did some modifications to it. It wasn't quite exactly the way I wanted it, So I had to do some mods, and I came up with a slightly better version. Tires are always a problem on these cars. These are the original tires. You can see what happens here. They just basically crack and turn into dust. These are new 3D printed ones. You have to use a very soft filament. And see how this is all spongy? It has to be like that. If it's not spongy like this, they'll just slip on the playfield. Experimented with a white tire and actually multicoloring like a white wall, but that didn't really work. Just stuck with the black. So this 3D printed tire is on here, and it works unbelievable. Just again, you have to use the right filament. That's this spongy stuff. Hard to print, but it's the only one that'll work. And believe me, I tried them all. I lifted the playfield up, put it on its prop rod. Let's go on the inside here and take a look. Here is the throttle control. So it's got a stylus, like a gun game down here, with a little stylus pin that rides across these rivets that makes the car go slower or faster depending on the position. And then your steering wheel is a really bizarre little device that moves the steering wheel front and right, or front and left, left and right. And then you've got some relays associated with that. And yes, these capacitors and the resistors are required. They're in the schematic. I believe KJ replaced these probably for good reason. There was originally a circuit breaker in the game. Now there's just this style circuit breaker. Genco's all came with like circuit breakers. The selenium rectifier was mounted to the transformer. Let me show you that. That's really interesting. All these Genco games use these selenium rectifiers. That's this thing. Basically, it's a bridge rectifier before bridge rectifiers were invented. Look at this thing. It's a joke. Not very efficient. So what most guys do is they replace that with a standard silicone bridge rectifier, which is what has been done here. Highly advised. Makes the DC much stronger, much flatter, with less AC ripple. You can see the score motor here is the most bizarre thing ever. All Gencos kind of use that style score motor. But that's the inside, and then on the bottom, it's just rollover switches and not much more than that. Also, there's a speed adjustment for the car right here, this giant resistor, and you can make the car go slow, medium, or fast. I have it on medium. I'm going to start a game, and I want to show you how the car actually operates. So here, let me start a game. You can see that my timer went all the way back to the first, and then this guy will just keep moving as time progresses. So here's my steering wheel. You see how it moves the front tire? And then here's my gas, forward and reverse. Okay, so let's put it down, and basically you're trying to hit all these rollovers. Let's get going the right way here. Tell I'm doing great. No, I'm not. I drive like crap. Oh, look, now this one's lit. I got far enough along. That one isn't always lit. You can hear the two bells. That means I'm advancing multiple cities. All right, so one bell gives you one city. See, I'm all the way to Nevada or something. Where the hell am I? Yeah, I'm in Nevada. Here, I'm going to advance it along. See, I'm up to here. Let's see, can I get any farther? No, I ran out of time. So I got all the way from New York, all the way up to here, and I was ultimately going to go to Portland, and then San Francisco, and finally Los Angeles. And I guess you could keep going if you follow the route back down. I guess you could wrap it around. I've personally never gotten that far. You can see I am a hot rodder. I just wanted to show everybody the workings and the inside of the Genco Motorama and how it plays. Cute little game that you saw in the arcade for, God, 10, 20, 30 years. You don't really see them much now, but super, super fun driving game in an era when driving games basically all were bloody awful. So, hope you enjoyed it. Thanks.